Hi guys, I'm going rainbow trout fishing tomorrow at a lake that our Game and Fish organization stocks with trout. So I figured I'd do a video on how to rig the PowerBait if you guys wanted to do the same thing. This rig is just going to be it's like a double Carolina rig. If you guys know what that is, if you do any bass fishing, it's a Carolina rig with treble hooks and PowerBait instead of a worm and a worm hook. So we're going to start off with is a weight. This one's a bullet weight. It doesn't matter if it's egg or bullet weight, but I'm using a 1/2 ounce. I'm using it on a 10-pound monofilament mainline. Once you've got the weight strung on, then you're going to put on a bead. I've just got a little plastic red bead. The bead doesn't really do much. All it does is it separates the weight from the knot on the swivel so that it doesn't rub up against it and weaken your knot, so it's just a little spacer, and slide that down. And next you're going to take your swivel. This one's a little barrel swivel. It's got 2 connectors on it. I'm not sure how many pounds it is. I think it's like 60-pound test swivel. You don't need that much for trout, especially stalkers, because they don't pull that hard. But you're going to tie that swivel on with the Palomar knot. Tie it to your main line, that is. Always wet it. Cinch that down. Nice and tight. Now that you've got your swivel tied on, you can take a pair of clippers and snip the tag off. This is our rig so far. Our rig so far is this. We've got a bullet weight, a bead, and a swivel. Looks sort of like a Bass Carolina rig, doesn't it? What you do is first you need to get 2 teeny tiny, these are size 14 I think, treble hooks, just little tiny gold ones. And we're also going to get 1.5 feet of 6-pound monofilament line, so about this much. And then you're going to cut it off. And on one end, you're going to tie a surgeon's loop, and on the other hand, you're going to tie a Palomar knot, and that Palomar knot is going to have your treble hook on the back. So what you end up with is your leader is this long, at this end is a surgeon's loop, and at this end is a treble hook. And how you attach the swivel to the end of your leader with the loop in it, it's pretty simple. You get your loop and you narrow it down, pinch it down so it's tiny like this, and then you slot it through the swivel. See how it's through the swivel now? And then you find the hook at the end of the leader, if it's not attached to another treble hook, that is. So you've got your other hook at the end of the leader and your loop, and at the bottom of that is a swivel, and then you take the treble hook and thread it through the loop, and drop it down, and at the end it'll look like this, and that's not going to come off. So now you've got your swivel here and your treble hook over here, and it'll float up like that. And then you do 2 leaders for every swivel you have, so you have 2 hooks and 2 PowerBait balls. It looks like this. You've got 2 leaders hanging right here. Each one of them's got a treble hook on it, and on that will go a ball of PowerBait, and you've got 3 feet or so of leader. And at the end you've got your swivel tied to a main line, and then farther up the main line you have your weight and your bead to protect the knot on your swivel from the weight. And it basically just looks like a Bass Carolina rig with treble hooks. I'm going to go ahead and tie up the rest of my treble hooks onto little leaders. I'm not going to attach them to swivels, but I'm going to tie them to leaders. Thanks.